We commonly find this in every family where a child is loved more than the others. Frank, and together with his wife Joan with their lovely children, Tobena and Adaora, are one big happy family. But Ada was loved and favored the most. This made Toby feel less confident in himself, and to sympathize with the poor kid, he was anemic as a kid, which causes frequent fatigue and weakness, so he was immediately rushed to the hospital. Yes, they may look like one big family, but the couples seem to have their big differences. Frank is obviously cheating on his wife, and Joan doesn't mind confronting his infidelity anywhere, even at the hospital. But Frank wouldn't want their dirty linens washed outside, so taking a stroll outside will be fine. Toby is well again, and with his best friend, Kamsi, in class when Nonye, the house help, brought his lunch. He wasn't happy that his mother failed to come herself, and kept postponing to meet with his class teacher who requested to see her. Toby has been facing a lot of bullying from Justice and Audu, who are his classmates for a long time now, and no one knows about it except Kamsi. His parents are always busy and have no idea of what the poor boy is going through. What's more surprising is that his mother is a psychotherapist. Her duty is to find solutions to broken people and their homes, while neglecting her family without knowing. Rather, she tends to be more focused on her failing marriage when she remembered what seems to relate to the problem her client was battling about extramarital affairs. She was still lost in thoughts when her client brought her back to the present. She then got a sudden call from the school authority about her son being injured, and as a caring guardian she needed to get to the school as soon as possible, only for Toby to find out that she sent the house help to come check on him while her presence was also needed at Ada's school. Toby already knew his mother wouldn't show up. Joan finally had a meeting with the principal of the school. She expressed her anger towards them on why they allowed her son to play football with his health condition. As if she cared, but somehow Joan was informed that the injury wasn't at the football game, and after much arguments, Toby was asked to speak for himself. But Justice and Audu had already taken a toll on him, so he admitted that his injury was as a result of rough tackling on the pitch. Days later, Justice and his gang were gambling when Toby and Kamsi saw them, but Justice already sighted them first. They allowed Kamsi to go because they were scared of his elder brother, but no one could speak for Toby to the point that they collected his phone for involving his mother in the first place. This kid suffered the pains inflicted on him when Kamsi went to call his elder brother, Rambo. He told the boys to go home while he went after Justice and his gang to get the phone. Everyone was scared of Rambo and his boys for his martial arts skills, and no one dared to challenge him. Toby was getting tired of the bullying and wanted to tell his mother, but she kept putting her busy life and schedules ahead of her children. She then promised to make time for him the next day evening. Toby also noticed that Justice and his gangs no longer come closer to him because of Rambo, but Kamsi wanted him to be careful and also know that he is still not yet free, because they will come back when Rambo returns to school. This problem was becoming bigger than the teenager could handle. He really needed his parents' aid, but his mother wouldn't still give him the attention he needed. But what could the poor kid do? He also remembered that he wanted to buy a new jersey, which his mother did not hesitate to reciprocate. This is where most parents get it wrong. They think that money is one of the essential tools that can make their children feel loved. Toby doesn't think he could get the protection he needs from his parents. Getting it from Rambo is the best thing that can happen to him now. Do you know that teenagers open up to people who are willing to listen to them and also protect them? Toby was willing to do anything for Rambo to help him, and this is where they mostly get into the wrong hands. Toby now has the confidence he once lost. This is the first time he was able to speak up for himself. Justice wanted him to know that Rambo wouldn't be there for him forever, especially when he goes back to school. Ada also has her own cross to carry. Even though she is the most favorite child, Frank and Joan barely spend quality time with the children. Arinki is her closest friend who was always there to encourage her, especially now that she has just won the school poetry competition. She is now about to represent the state in the national level, and she can't wait to win it. Toby now enjoys his new company, and as harsh as it may sound, having sex isn't a big deal to these teenagers. Toby also indulged himself into smoking marijuana, and even though he wasn't happy with what he was getting into, it just makes him feel good. While Ada was studying and focused on her dreams to become the best poetry enthusiast the country has ever known, Toby now found addiction in his new habit. The same night, Joan has been on call with her in-law while she was trying to let him know about Frank's infidelity and how he also doesn't care about his family anymore when Frank walks in after days away from home. Joan was already getting tired of his behaviors, and she couldn't hide it anymore with his numerous exploits with women. This time, she doesn't mind raising her voice while her children hear her lamenting. Toby doesn't care anymore as his new habit got his interest, while Ada went to find out what was happening. She was surprised to find her dad home after days of leaving home. She wanted to know what was going on, but all her dad will always say is that everything is fine. She doesn't believe him anymore and wanted to see her mother, only for her to find broken glasses on the floor as if they had a fight. She was speechless while Toby acted lackadaisical about everything. It was morning and Joan wanted to check up on her daughter. She came to break the news to her daughter that her father had left them. Ada felt heartbroken while her mother tried to comfort her. Then Toby badged in. Joan always reprimanded the poor boy for every little thing. She was yelling at him for not knocking before coming into his sister's room. Toby could see the hatred behind her eyes. He couldn't bear it anymore, so he had to tell his mother all he had harbored in his mind. For how long will the poor boy be disregarded because of his health condition? Or was it his fault that his parents decided to have kids and have him suffer like an outsider? Only if Toby knows the truth of what actually happened. Toby left while those words sank into his mother. Just then, the house help ran inside to tell her that Toby fell helplessly and Joan had to call the doctor. Greg is the family's doctor. He came home to check on the boy and assured her that her son will be fine. Greg had always had interest in Joan, and now is the right time to strike. As usual, Toby was well again and having a good time with Kamsi. Rambo was going back to school. Toby knew his problems were back again. Rambo understood everything from his facial expression. He told Toby what to do and also gave him a special number he could reach him with when trouble arises. You can't actually separate a father from his daughter. They still talk on phone and also made arrangements to meet when he told her that he wouldn't be able to come back home for now. Joan was already having a date with Greg. She called Ada and said that she will be coming back later in the evening. And while she was all alone at home, Arinki comes to keep her company while they talk about the coming national poetry competition. Ada and her dad sat and talked in a fancy restaurant. Frank had to explain to her understanding about the complications he and his wife were having. Kamsi saw them when he came to get some snacks also. He told Toby that his father was in town with his sister. Although he still feels sad about the disdain, but he was also becoming about standing alone. He now keeps late nights, and this time Joan saw him while she was with perhaps her newly found man. Greg was concerned about the teenager's moves and well-being, but Joan admitted that she barely keeps track of what he does. Joan was beginning to get worried, so she called Frank to let him know about their son's recently changed personality. She also blamed him for not giving the boy the attention he needed as a father. Frank opened up that the boy wasn't his son, so giving him all the love and attention as a father wasn't necessary. Joan wasn't happy with what he said. They both agreed to be the foster parents of Toby ever since he was born. They had this argument for a while. Little did she know that the boy eavesdropped on their conversation. Toby really felt battered and locked himself inside his room. Sometimes most parents wish their children were little babies again, skinned knees and easier to fix than broken hearts now. Should we say it is very late for her now? Joan was really confused on what to do now. She had to call Frank. He told her to get the spare key and open the door before something bad happens to him, without knowing that the poor kid had made up his mind to run away and never come back. Joan came back with the spare key only to find out that he had already left. The poor kid was on his way to his friend's house when he ran into Justice and his gangs again. He quickly rushed to get the weapon that was given to him, only for him to find out that his mother had already removed it from his bag. Toby got the beating of his life to the point of death when a good Samaritan saw him and helped. Alex is the good Samaritan. He called someone to help stitch his wounds while he rested. Joan seemed to be awake all night when Frank and the police officers came the next morning. After some inquiries, the police assured them that they would find him. Meanwhile, Toby was already awake. He wasn't comfortable with the kind gesture and wanted to know Alex's motives behind being too nice to a stranger. But Alex calmed his curiosity. Moments later, Toby was already getting bored with the environment, so Alex came in and gave him a phone. At least it will keep him busy. He saw a picture of Alex's family and wanted to know where they were. He sympathized with Alex when he heard that they died in a car accident. It was the day for the national poetry competition. Ada and her mother had long awaited this day and were set to leave. Toby also had his own plans. The school football were having a match today and got the information from Kamsi. He had to find a way out without Alex knowing. The day started well with Ada, as every teenager stood a chance of becoming the new face of young talent in the competition. It didn't come easy for Ada and also her opponents. On the flip side, the football match had already begun, while Toby stood from a distance to watch the game. What is the kid up to this time? Ada won the competition as she became the youngest to have won the competition in history. Should we expect anything good from a child who has been condemned? Toby had grown to become a murderer overnight and was immediately arrested by the police. But was it already late for Joan? Thank God the boys didn't die and Toby was released. Joan has the chance to make things right again, but it's all smokescreen now, especially now that the teenager knows that Joan isn't his mother. Then who are his parents? His mother died when he was born, and Joan promised her sister, Juliet, to take care of him. Her regret was that she failed to honor the dead's wishes. While his father is Alex, he has come for his son. But where has he been all these while? Alex abandoned Toby's mother while she was pregnant and also resulted in her death. Joan and Frank took responsibility for the boy until Alex showed up after 15 years. Joan couldn't control her tears anymore because neither she nor Alex could boost to good parenting. But that's left for the boy to choose now. This is something no one can decide for him. It is the final chapter of his life, and that power lies in his hands. But what happens in the end? You may want to find out.
Thanks for watching. Please comment your thoughts and also like and share this video for more super amazing videos that we are bringing to you. And if you're watching from our YouTube channel, you can also subscribe and turn on your notification for more. Thank you.